Hey, Shalom, Shalom. It's the brother Abai Buff in the DC Church coming at you, giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, Bashim Kok. Yahweh being the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, Bashim in the name, recall me Spirit, Kodash the Holy. These are the names and the powers that I come to you in order to profess the 100% truth and Lord's will, seal the elect's faith. Shenya Kabag, Wala Rakab, Sequoiam now Ba'aith, meaning double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS in these times, whom the Heavenly Father had enlisted the 100% truth to, and Shalom wa Barakim, Labakarim Shayasha Allah, peace and blessings be upon the elect of the nation of Israel, and to the men out there that's pushing this word in sincerity and in truth, and to the faithful sisters that are watching, to you, I say Shalom wa Barakim, my thumb, peace and blessings be upon you. Now, without further ado, I wanted to make a video wrapped around the concept of abasement. Okay, and abasement, just to define the word first, the word abasement literally means embarrassment, dread, fear, or it literally means the action of lowering in price, action of lowering in rank. All right, and this word is very important because the details behind this word and the action or the performative action behind this word, when it actually happens to you in your own personal life, is something that needs to be notated, and not only notated but acknowledged. All right, and in our lives, in this truth, abasement is going to technically be our best friend, truly, because we're going to be in constant situations to where we're being humbled and we're being brought low, and the expectations that we have for this for ourselves in this world are just not going to come to fruition because the Heavenly Father has other plans for us. And I'm making this video regarding, you know, a specific situation that happened to me and my brother earlier this year, and how things didn't necessarily work in our favor. And that's not the only time where something like that has occurred in my life. But things didn't necessarily work in my favor, or in favor of what I thought should happen, opposed to what actually happened. And it abased me, you know. It humbled me. It put me in a mindset of like, okay, well, the Lord said He doesn't want this, but I gotta accept the fact. That the Lord said He didn't want this, and I'll figure out the why as to why the Heavenly Father said He doesn't want me to have that later on. Okay, because the understanding behind things will always be acquired after the situation's over. You can't be in the situation and have understanding now of why it's happening currently, or sometimes when the Heavenly Father has allowed you to be exercised to the point to where, you know, you can realize trends within your life, or trends within patterns in which the Lord is putting you in. Then you start to acquire the understanding as to why. All right. Now, with all that being said, I wanted to bring out this first precept in Sirach chapter 20, verse 11, where it says, there is an abasement because of glory. All right. And there is that lifted up his head from a low estate. All right. Now, our abasement or our embarrassment or our humiliation happens for us to acquire glory in the end, because we got to understand the concept of where the scriptures say better is the end of a thing than the beginning of the thing. That literally resonates with us in practically every single last one of our situations. Now, this specific one that I'm thinking of, there's two situations that I'm thinking of now that I brought it back to my mind. The first one was an ongoing battle that we had amongst us and our previous landlord, and how you know, he was being a freaking slime ball, being a heathen, and you know, he just didn't take care of things that he needed to take care of. So me and my brother, we had to take him to court in order for us to, you know, to receive some level of justice, you know. But furthermore, there were a lot of details behind the story itself as to why we were seeking justice from him. And it had everything to do with just righteousness. You know, he owed us exactly what we received in court. But to sum things up, you know, on the first go around, we ended up not necessarily technically not winning the case on the first go around, because we didn't really explain ourselves in a way that we should have. when we went to court. And funny enough, our landlord won, but he still appealed the court case. And then afterwards, when he appealed the court case, we had to basically go to I believe, and forgive me for not being concise in my statements, but we had to go to the district court, if I'm not mistaken. The specific terms are slipping my mind at this standing point in time. Nevertheless, we went to the Court of Appeals, and when we got out that first court case, I thought it was going to be a straight sweep. I thought from my expectation was that, look, we in here, we explain ourselves, and we get all the money that we supposed to receive from this situation because he's dead wrong. But the court case just went the complete opposite direction of what I expected it to go. So because my expectations weren't met, it caused some level of abasement. And I was disappointed. I was like, damn, like, how the fuck why are we going through all this suffering and this motherfucker gets basically off scotch-free, And funny enough, we got served the court papers that he appealed the case in person by him when we were doing a walkthrough to end our lease there. And when we ended up showing up to court the next time, this go around, hey man, the Lord practically handed this motherfucker on a platter to us, man. And it's funny enough, we didn't do much preparation for this court case. My brother Duwada, he did his due diligence of, reviewing a couple of things, and the way he explained himself to the judge was the Lord just had the spirit on the fucking judge to be just this go round, and it was kind of lickety split when we got in there. And I said all that to say that, better is the end of the thing than the beginning of it. And the other scenario that I was thinking about is another position that I was in my life where, I ended up losing my job, and I ended up working at this other place for, I want to say, a rough 4 or 5 months. It might have been 4 to 5 months. But during that 4 to 5 months, I hated the job. I worked evenings, so I had practically no time to myself. I would go to sleep really late and have to wake up early to get some time in, go to the gym and cook for myself and what have you. And I hated it. I hated it. And during that time, I was just begging the Lord, like, Lord, please, give me something so I can get out of this position. Like, I hate being here. Not knowing that position was everything that I needed in order for me to grow a closer relationship to the Lord at that standing point in time. All right. And that's why abasement is so important, because abasement will teach you that you need to be low for a season. You need to go through these things in order for you to understand how the Heavenly Father is communicating to you, because the message in which the Heavenly Father is conveying is not going to happen during the time to where you're not abased. And that's why Paul even said what he said in Philippians chapter 4, verse 12, where he said, I know both how to be abased, meaning he knows how to be humbled. He knows how to just live on low means and not have much, and deal with that $50 for 2 weeks to hold you over in that ramen, that top ramen that you got to eat. He knows how to deal with the struggle. And as a man, specifically as a man of God, it's a necessity for you to know how to deal with these circumstances, and also to be able to put up with these circumstances for a standing point of time until the Heavenly Father vindicates you and he brings you out of that season. Because, struggle don't last for too long. Pain don't last for too long. It only endures for a season. But the fact of the matter is that we're dealing with the power who has power over the seasons. Not only that, but he has power over heaven and earth. The Lord, you got to understand that you cannot undermine his power. And you have to consistently believe that the Lord is capable of changing circumstances and things up. Just believe. Just believe, man. All right. So he said, and I know how to abound everywhere, and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry. both to abound and to suffer. Okay? So you just have to be accustomed to dealing with how the Lord deals with you. And the Lord deals with every man differently. Some men have longer seasons of suffering. Some men have shorter seasons of suffering. You have whatever's perfectly allotted for you. All right. And you have to respect and you have to accept the way that the Lord deals with you specifically. All right. You put the H on your back and handle it. But our abasement, all right, and going back to that word just one more time, our abasement or embarrassment, our fear, our dread, the times where we're uncertain, those are all set for us to succeed, not for us to die. All right. Those are all set for us to acquire and to acquire the things that are actually meaningful that will preserve us, which are the fruits of the Spirit. Okay. So abasement is a necessity. And it's something that we have to truly, be humble about and be like, hey, look, this is what it is. And this is what I got to deal with, and don't run away from it. Run toward it. If that's the season that the Lord got you in where you ain't going to have as much as you did before, you got to accept that. Look, Lord, I accept it. I'm your servant and I deal with whatever comes with the territory of being a worshiper and a server of you, But that's all I had to say regarding this topic. I pray that you exhorted through the spirit and power of Yahweh Abasement Is A Necessity, and through these words in which the Heavenly Father has inspired me to say in this epistle. I pray that you're uplifted. I pray that the Heavenly Father gives you an understanding of the message that's conveyed and also allow you to apply it to your life, because to the best of my ability, I do so. So with that, I give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Abasement Is A Necessity, and Yikabaka, Wala Rakaza, Kaina, Ba'aith, Shalom, Wa Barakam, Labakan, Shasha Allah. Until next time, I say Shalom.